Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Medio602, and today we're going to talk about how to get more loot in... Ooh, bet those guys had some loot. How to get more loot in Blackout. Look at all those bags. I got 6 bags right there. Whew. We're going to start the commentary with the first big tip to get more loot, and that is to land in a crowded area, or a potentially crowded area. This one's kind of a no-brainer, so we're going to get into better tips as the video goes on, of course. But the first tip is, if you land out in the middle of nowhere where no one else lands because you want to be safe, you're not going to get as much loot. This red barn here is nice because it's got 3 stories worth of loot in here. It's perfect for duos. It's not quite enough loot for a full squad, but any of the named locations on the map are a pretty good bet when it comes to getting more loot. You can also just drop out of the chopper and go straight down and usually run into a few people there. So you can see Gray Fox there stole my Daemon, so I'm gonna have to make do with an ABR. Yep, I can handle this. That's fine. So the first thing about getting loot is don't be like this guy. Don't stand still and try to loot. That doesn't work. Another thing you can do is try to lock down choke points like this bridge here coming out of Rivertown. This is an excellent location, and really all the bridges. All of the bridges are a great place for mesh mines, because people are driving trucks and ATVs and RAVs across bridges. Look at this, 1, 2, 3 mesh mines. We're going to come back to those in a little bit. Now you can see we're on to our 3rd or 4th location looting, and we've got all sorts of good stuff. I've got an ABR, I've got a down with a mesh mine. That was right back here at the bridge. Look at this. The guy's going to try to get his buddy, and there are 2 nice bags right there, and I like to call this living loot. That's the best tip for getting more loot, is to loot dead bodies whenever you can. That's the best way to do it. You can run from area to area, and that's fine too, but chances are the people are going to have the best loot, and you get the loot from the people just by doing what I said, by cutting off those choke points. You can see here, we've got another ATV. Look at these guys trying to outrun the storm, and feel kind of bad for them, but at the same time, don't go across the bridge in an ATV. I mean, if you are, look for the mesh mines. Look at all these bags. We are just going to take our sweet time going through these bags because it's safe, right? I've got Outlander on, I've got lots and lots of heals. We're in the storm, and really make sure when you go to loot, make sure it's safe. Don't stand and loot either. Go prone if you can. Put smoke down if you can. That's a big tip. Is when you are in a bag looting, you're very vulnerable. You need to give yourself as much cover and as much chance to survive the looting as possible. So go in prone, especially if you have Outlander on in a storm. That's a great time to do it. Until later in the game, right? So if you have a 10-tick storm, you can't spend all day looting in the bag. This guy had everything known to man. He's got trauma kits, a sniper scope, all sorts of perks. And you can see here I'm going through and I'm trying to hit all the bags, and I'm trying to be as quick and as efficient as possible going through this loot. And you can just see here, leaving Rivertown. Rivertown's a very populated area, lots of buildings, lots of loot. You don't have to loot the areas, just loot the guys that you kill coming out of the areas. It's really the best way to do it. But you have to be smart about looting. You have to make sure no one's around. So in this next clip here, this is another good way to get more loot. You can see there are 2 groups up here fighting. And I don't know if any of you guys are old like me and you grew up in the 80s. I know the older people out there are laughing at me for saying that. That was a joke. I've got kind of a dry sense of humor in case you haven't figured it out yet. Anyway, so back in the 80s when we would play in the arcade games, like if you're playing Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, whoever won, you would play them next, right? So we would just walk up behind them, put our quarter down or our 50 cents or whatever, and say, I play winner. So that's kind of how I feel about this kind of fighting. And look at this, standing in the open looting? No, you're dead. Get out of here, kid. Out of my lobby. When you see 2 groups fighting, wait for them to finish, wait for one of the groups to start looting, and just kill them. I mean, and you get the best of everything, right? You may not get as many heals, you may not get quite as much equipment, but boy, you get a whole lot. I mean, look at this. We've got, what, 3 or 4 bags here? Notice I go prone for every single bag I loot. Occasionally you can't do that, but You can see Gray Fox here. He goes prone. He's not standing still like those two idiots we killed earlier. Ooh, that's not PC. I can't call them idiots. Those two lovely new players we played with earlier, right? Don't stand still and loot. Don't stand straight up and loot. Speaking of people standing still, this clip's got a couple campers, and we don't get a lot of loot in this, but this was part of the same game later on. And you're going to see a couple of campers up here at about my 12 o'clock position by that bush. Just laying in the grass. Laying in the tall grass. What do you think you are, Pokemon? Come on. Come on, Pikachu. Look at that. If I'd had my ADR out, those guys would have been dead. You can see I take shots from the other direction. Gray Fox gets down by someone else camping. And I tried to make it back to him, but I was cut off by grenades, and he's going to get finished by OVRI hump, ma'am. Okay, real mature kid. We're going to kill him later on this game. So I'm just waiting for those other campers to jump into my water here so I can kill them. So let's just fast forward a little bit. Skip this part. Come on. Come on, video editor. That's more dry humor, by the way. Come on. Oh, there we go. You can see here I'm still swimming around in the water, and Mr. Mammals is going to come up behind me. He's going to put about 6 shots in my back. I don't know how I lived through this. But there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shots. Your aim is the worst aim in the world, and now you are dead. And you can see here we've got a couple more bags in the water. Underwater bags are great for looting too. Of course you can't go prone, but most of the people can't see you in the water very well. And it's usually pretty safe. You just have to remember to breathe. So make sure to go for bags in the water. Make sure to hit people at choke points. Make sure to loot the winners of battles. You know, kill them first and then take all the loot. And be smart about your looting. Make sure that you're laying down to loot, or better yet, in smoke and laying down to loot. Don't stand straight up and loot, or that loot goblin is going to come right up and smack you. That's no bueno. The gameplay is rounding out here, and my last tip is really more of a tip for staying alive and using the loot that you have. Don't loot unless you need to. You can see in this gameplay I've got level 3 armor. It's almost fully repaired. I don't have a lot of meds, but I only got 5 guys left, so I've got plenty. You know, don't try to take more than your fair share. You can see, ooh, you see that guy up there behind the truck? Come on, Shadow Man, sit down. Oh, that's another good one too, is all these crazy character skins like the Shadow Man. Yeah, Shadow Man looks cool, but you can see him from a mile away, especially if he's looting. I think one of those guys I killed earlier, I'd have to go back and watch again specifically. But I think one of them was the Shadow Man. Oh, take out the Swamp Oof. Swamp UF? I don't know what the Swamp UF is. You can see here it's 1v1, and I'm just going to play the smart game. I'm going to take high ground because I'm not sure exactly where that other guy went. I think he's around that truck somewhere. Take off that sniper scope because we don't need it for this kind of range. This would be a good time if I had more than just one grenade to start throwing equipment down on him. But I had just thrown those 2 concussions. But again, I had plenty to finish out this game. You don't need that much equipment. You really need the health, the armor, the guns, ammo. Oh, there you see him. This guy is just going to eat a bunch of bullets, and then he's gonna ultimately die to the storm because he tries to camp in that little shed way too long. You can see here, dropping my suppressor. There's loot. I've got so much loot, I'm dropping it. You know, just this guy. He's refusing to leave his little building. You do see him popping out of the window there. He's going to eat a few shots, and I'm going to drop down because I'm not interested in taking any more of that 25 tick storm that I have to. And he just stands there and takes it and kills himself. So remember, best ways to get more loot are to land in the more populated areas, to control choke points, especially choke points leaving the more populated areas. Fight the winners of battles and loot their bodies, and remember, always loot safely, folks. Loot under smoke, loot while prone, loot underwater if you have to. Don't stand still and loot, or that loot goblin is going to get you. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the gameplay. Don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe, all that good stuff. See you on the next one.